Get ready for an eargasm as you listen to unsolicited advice from that chick you know, and that chick you know would be me, India L. Trotter. Sit back, relax, and get ready for a full dose of real talk. Enjoy the podcast, and note, this podcast is for mature audiences only.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hello. This is unsolicited advice. I can't even say unsolicited. Unsolicited advice from that chick you know, and that chick you know is me, India L. Trotter. And if you don't know who I am, then you can go to my brand new website, www.therealindialtrotter.com, and check me out. So, anywho, I don't have a lot of time to chit-chat with you today, with my little regular banter, because I really need to jump right into this topic. It's really unfortunate, and I have to start with it's unfortunate, but sex sells. And I recently did a podcast called The Birds and the Bees, and I got over 200 listens on this podcast. 200. Now, I typically get about 40 to 60. I think the most I've gotten is 70, 80 listens on a podcast in a week. However, when I talked about sex, my number count went up in droves. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to start talking about sex all the time, because I'm not. But I did get a lot of feedback. People liked the podcast and they wanted to hear more. And some of the feedback that I received was from the fellas, because they felt like I was a little hard on them. But, I try to be impartial. I try to go, both directions. Sometimes I'm hard on the ladies, sometimes I'm hard on the fellas. But nonetheless, the fellas thought that they didn't really have a voice. And so I'm utilizing this particular podcast for the fellas, to give them a voice so that they can be heard. So I got so much feedback from them when I put out a post so that I could prep for this particular podcast. I got so much feedback. I thought I was going to be able to say 20 things that guys want from women. They gave me when I finished with my list, I had 70 things. So I really do need to, I can't give you all 70, of course, but I really do need to jump right into this podcast. With that, this podcast is titled, Please Stop Talking, Just Get Naked, and Other Things Men Want From Us Women. That's right. They just don't want us to stop talking to get naked. No, they want more than that. But that was the premise. But I'm going to break down some things that they said, that the guy said. And throughout this podcast, you'll hear me say the word us. And because I'm speaking for the fellas today, fellas, holla at your girl for doing a podcast for you. When I say us, I'm talking about the men. I'm not talking about the ladies. So I did poll a Facebook group. I actually polled 2 Facebook groups, but one of which I did receive permission from one of the admins to mention. And so I want to give a special shout out to East Coast Connection and Omar for allowing me to mention your group. And I want to thank the group East Coast Connection for going all in and answering this question. Now, I did poll another group, but I didn't get permission from that group, and so I'm not going to mention them by name, but maybe next time I'll be able to mention their name and their admins, but because I do know that I have them as listeners as well. But East Coast Connection showed out, and they answered this question, and the men went in. Ladies, you're not prepared. But anyway, the question I posed to the men was, what is the one thing that most men want, but most women aren't willing to give? And so let me recap for you, my avid listeners, what the gentleman had to say. I'm going to start with the obvious on this one, and you'll understand why it's obvious in a moment. But women, we need to let men have their moment. Meaning, we don't need to be all up in everything, especially when it is directed towards or special to the men. So, for example, I posed this question on Facebook and said men. Well, some women jumped their asses up on the post and nobody was even talking to them. And not that I don't appreciate your feedback, ladies, but nobody was asking you. So, the first thing we need to do is let men have their moment. We women aren't fathers. So when Father's Day rolls around, stop giving yourself shout outs. Yeah, you might be a single parent. Yeah, you might be the one who's the breadwinner or the person who is holding it down because the daddy ain't doing shit. I'm not going to bash the men during their podcast though. But what I'm saying is, albeit that you may be holding it down, that just means that you are a super mom. You are not a father, nor do you deserve a happy Father's Day. So some of the ladies is going to be mad at me for this, but let the men have their moment. And things that are directed and related to things for men. Now, if I put a post out there that says, hey, ladies, then men sit your happy asses down. But no, ladies, this post was directed to the gentleman. And albeit I appreciate your passion, you're not men. Sit your asses down. So again, the question is, what is the one thing that most men want, but women aren't willing to give? And I just want to send a special shout out to the one man who answered a hand job while riding a bike. Yeah, like, I don't even know what the fuck to say to that. Okay, so one of the common answers from the gentleman on this post was, don't blame us for shit your ex or your baby daddy did. And I think that's pretty self explanatory. Like, basically, give the new dude or the new guy a clean slate. Like, he's not that dude in your past, and don't treat him like that. And if you have emotional baggage that you need to deal with, then maybe you shouldn't be in a relationship. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, all these dudes are the same, they're not, which is another thing that the fella said. They're not all the same. Don't treat us the same. Treat us differently. And if you keep choosing the same type of dude that keeps doing the same type of thing to you, then maybe, just maybe, and I don't want no problems, but maybe it's you. Or at least your choices. Now I have to read this one verbatim because just so that I don't get it wrong. But one of the fellas said, "Can you stop taking relationship advice from your single, can't keep a relationship, 5 kids with 5 baby daddies girlfriend?" Oh, that's that bullshit right there. But I ain't mad at him. Ladies, when your man walks through the door, he has a simple request. Can I just get a few minutes? Let me have a moment. Let me walk through the door. Let me take my shoes off. Let me take my jacket off. Let me get acclimated to being home before you go all in with whatever you're going all in with. Like, as soon as his feet hit the door, you don't have to start talking. Because what they hear is get. Like, let me walk the fuck in the door. That's what the brothers are saying. That's what they're saying. The fellas are saying, let them walk in the door. I'm just, helping them explain it a little bit better. Like, let them get in, let them get acclimated, give them 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Like, what? It's not a big deal. Say hey, you can say, hey, babe, glad to see that you're home, but give them a couple minutes. And then after you give them a couple minutes, this goes to another suggestion that one of the fellas had. Ask them how their day was before you go all in about what you have to say. Just say, hey, babe, how was your day? But that's after you gave them the 15 minutes. Okay? Okay. Okay, so here's another request from the fellas that I need to read verbatim because, I don't want anything to get lost in my own translation. So this one dude said, stop treating him like he needs to have his Miranda rights read to him prior to saying anything in his vicinity. It's like anything you say and or do can be used against you in the court of her mind. And I mean, I get that. Like, a lot of times we make shit up in our mind and then we roll with it. And so when the man is trying to explain what happened, we've already made up in our mind what has happened. So we're interrogating them based on the shit that we made up in our mind. I've done that. And I know that there are some other women who have done that. And if you don't have that one girlfriend that you can run some shit past that'll give you a level head, you can fly off the handle and be interrogating a brother who has not done anything wrong. So he didn't answer your text or he didn't answer your phone call right away. It doesn't necessarily mean that he is dicking down the next chick. I mean, it could be that he really did leave his cell phone in the car, or the battery died, or he accidentally dropped it in the toilet and he had to wait 3 days to get a brand new phone, and that's why you haven't heard from him until now. Okay, so the fellas are saying, trust in our ability to lead as a man, boyfriend, husband, as a man in your life. So basically, don't try to be the man. Let them wear the pants. You can wear pants, but you're not wearing the pants. Like, let him handle his shit. If he's the man in a relationship and he wants to be respected as such, because there's some motherfuckers out there that don't want to be respected as such. They're little bitches. But we're not talking about them. We are talking about the men who want to be respected as men. Then let him do his man shit. Trust that he has it all under control. So when he comes home and he says, this is the situation, look at him and say, well, what are you going to do? You're the man. Big him up. Let him know that you are putting total confidence and faith in whatever he's going to do and whatever his decision is. And then walk away from it. Go do the dishes or some shit. Get naked, because that's one of their requests too. Just get naked. So just get naked. But don't worry about all the other shit. Let them handle that. If they have proven themselves to be a man that is worthy and trustworthy, then trust in his abilities. Leave that shit with him and go do some girl shit. Like, go get your nails done or something. That's what the fellas are saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's what the fellas are saying. Don't crucify me, ladies. I'm just the messenger. And just to piggyback off of something I said in that last little segment, apparently we are talking too much before sex. So, we want to go into the we're horny and all this other kind of stuff, or I don't know, but basically what the fellas are saying is that we're doing too much. Just get naked. That's all you need to do. That is the answer to everything. Just get naked. Stop talking. They don't want us to talk. Just get naked. I can do that. I mean, shit, if that's all I could save myself a whole lot. All the lingerie, all that. Just get the fuck naked. Okay. I ain't know. But ladies, now we know. Now, I started to get a little confused because a lot of men said space, a lot of men said communication, and then some men said silence. So there seems to be confusion. They want communication, but they don't want us to talk too much. And then, while not talking too much, give them a little space. So, be able to communicate, but not too much. And make sure you know when to communicate. So, give them some space. Now, I don't know how that plays out, ladies, but I guess you just got to know your dude. If he's a communicator, then learn how to effectively communicate with him. If he needs some space, maybe you shouldn't be down in the man cave. Maybe that's not your area, or his office, or wherever he has that he goes to get away from your ass, basically. And we all have that. So it's not a bad thing that somebody wants space, because sometimes I need space. My place